day 11 of the Gratitude Story Project, Adventures Outside. For my fellow fans of the outdoors, we know the hilarious, cringy, soul-stirring stories that come with adventures outside. But getting into the outdoors can still be daunting for me sometimes. I was a Vegas kid. The outdoors meant RV camping and day hikes, which were a great time. I knew the magic of a quick whiff of that clean dirt smell on a trail, or the inexplicable way a savory meal tastes so much better at the top of a mountain. I just didn't see myself as a capable outdoorsy person, and still don't for the most part, but I'm just more okay with it. My first road trip with Shadow to Redwood Forests, then Bryce and Zion Canyon a year later, I had zero camping skills and confidence. They took me shopping for things like base layers and real hiking boots, stuff I knew nothing about. We drove all the way from Bellingham to Zion and Bryce Canyon only to discover everyone thought someone else had packed the tents. With more experience over the last decade, I came to see that mishaps like this inevitably happen on every trip, and it's usually what makes for the best stories, just like international travel. It didn't matter, as long as I got to smoke campfire soot in my flannel the next morning, rolled up in a warm sleeping bag next to people I love. Or laugh over completely inappropriate nicknames, and karaoke battles, and inside jokes with close friends. Every trip since has been the same. Like the one with Audrey and Chendu's friends when we couldn't get a fire to start for the life of us and had to take shifts using Hannah Montana plates to fan the baby flames while our neighbors took pity on us. Getting snot all over Jeremy's shirt after I spread Justine's ashes at the top of Tabletop Mountain in South Africa. Pining for living near mountains again while snowshoeing in Yosemite with Diana. Or realizing what my answer would be when someone asked what would be your perfect day when diving into the ocean after hiking Mount Monagui in New Zealand. Getting through a terrible breakup by rock climbing in Joshua Tree with Laura. Or Kira and I laughing in an Airbnb hot tub after a long day hiking every inch of Arches National Park. I feel closer to my humanity when I'm experiencing life outside. When I started making my own solo travel plans in my mid-20s, it became less overwhelming when I realized I got to make the rules, the timeline, and whatever else I wanted because only I was around to deal with the consequences. Like when I planned a trip to Hawaii with my parents in January, right before the pandemic hit. Going off on my own to hike a specific trail I had my eye on. I slid through thick mud and swung off a rope swing under a waterfall, completely alone on the trail at last. I felt like myself again. It was the same story over Thanksgiving when I took a solo trip to Steamboat Springs, talking to myself all along the trail, reflecting on my first year living in Colorado. After I'd soaked in the strawberry hot springs, I stared up at the galaxies outside. It was impossible to not feel small and intimately connected to something bigger than any of us. Maybe my plans didn't have to be perfect or make sense to anyone else. I could make a decision and trust my ability to figure it out. Now that I have all my own camping gear, some friends invested in helping me figure it out, and fingers crossed a post-pandemic, wildfire-free Colorado to explore, I can't wait to see what's next.